This episode of Grounded in Maine is sponsored by ESG Review. ESG Review magazine is published quarterly in February, May, August, and November, and is available for free in print and digital formats. ESG Review is devoted to environmental, social, and governance strategies, technologies, and investments. ESGreview.net is updated every Wednesday with 8 new stories and is home to feature articles, news items, and more. Visit esgreview.net to stay informed and help us spark the collaboration and awareness needed to develop sustainable economies and communities around the world.
There's a place where there's no trouble, no more pain, no more struggle.
Grounded in Maine podcast is an open conversation about how we show up for the world. I started this podcast out of a desire to learn new ways to be sustainable because the word sustainability is big. It can be overwhelming, and I just wanted to learn, different ways to try to be part of the solution and not feel like it's too late. So I am talking to people who are doing different things and learning so much. I hope that you are too. Grounded in Maine podcast is an open conversation about how we show up for the world. I started this podcast out of a desire to learn new ways to be sustainable because the word sustainability is big. It can be overwhelming, and I just wanted to learn different ways to try to be part of the solution and not feel like it's too late. So I am talking to people who are doing different things and learning so much. I hope that you are too. Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today. My name is Amy Fagan. My guest today is special for me. This is Stephanie Bolduc, and her dad is my cousin. And they live in the UK. I've met Stephanie three times now, but twice in the past. One was, she was like 8 years old in passing. My grandmother was taking her to see the Grinch movie. And then I met her at my sister's wedding in 2014. And then I got an email from her last year saying, I'm listening to your podcast, and I know we don't know each other very well, but I feel like we have a lot in common. We're coming to the U.S. next year. Can we hang out? That was a no-brainer for me. It was so exciting to get to hang out with her. And, I met her as a child, and now she's not. So we got to do some fun Mainey things and just get to know each other, which was so fun. And she's so awesome. I'm really excited to share this with you guys because she's talking about hot composting, which is something that she's learning about. So she's not super proficient in it, but she's working on it. And so it's all fresh in her mind. And I had never even heard of hot composting. So I'm excited to share this with you guys. And she's got so many other things. She's big into research. She's so passionate about the climate and the environment, and she is super duper crafty. So I'm going to let her tell you more about that. But I hope you enjoy this. If you love it, please feel free to share it, rate, review wherever you listen. If you really don't like it, please feel free to let me know, because I can't change anything if I don't know that it needs to be changed. And I want to make sure that everyone's getting value. If you would love to be a podcast guest and talk about whatever you're doing sustainably, I would love that. You can reach out to me totally, and I will send you my guest form, and it will be super fun. It's really fun. So I hope you enjoy this conversation with Stephanie, and all of her information will be in the show notes. She's got some fun stuff. So anyway, here she is. Enjoy, and thank you again for listening.
My guest today is Stephanie Bolduc, and you may not know her. I only just got to know her a little bit, but Stephanie's dad is my cousin, and they live in the UK. And Stephanie and I have known each other sort of over the last bunch of years, but I've only met her a couple times. And then this past summer, we got to hang out a little bit, which was super fun. So Stephanie, welcome. I'm so glad to see you.
Hi.
So Stephanie had actually emailed me a little while ago, a few months ago, and said, we don't really know each other, but I think we have a lot in common. We should probably hang out. She said, we're going to be in New Hampshire if you have any availability. So we got to hang out for a few days, and I guess it was early July. You got here on June 30th. Yeah, early July. And it rained a lot.
It was a great visit, though. It was really
But it
fun.
was really fun. We got to do some fun stuff. But so Stephanie does a whole bunch of things. She is a climate activist, and she does lots and lots of things. While she was here, she fixed my sewing machine, which I thought I broke, but it was something else. But so Stephanie she went to school to be in theater, and she was making costumes and set stuff,
puppets and things.
Yeah. So she's very crafty with the sewing machine. But so one of the things that you had said, Steph, that you are working a lot with is hot compost, and I honestly know nothing about that. So can you talk to me about hot compost, please?
Yeah, I mean, I am still in the sort of, I'm trying to figure it out stage.
You're way ahead of me.
Yeah, we got a hot compost bin. I was influenced on Instagram. Someone had one, and it turns so you can put all of your food waste in there, and your garden waste, and it should it turns into like compost that you can use in the garden like within 30 days, I think, if it's like really doing a good job, or like 60 days if you're kind of doing an average job. And for me it's about 3 or 4 months. And it's like a warm compost at the moment. I think I've not quite got the balance right, but the idea is that you have like wood chip in there, and then you have like shredded paper or shredded cardboard, and you kind of feed it little but often. So we try and add all our food scraps and waste like a couple of times a week in there, and you have to mix it all around, and then you put in like a small handful of the wood chip and then a small handful of the shredded paper at the same time. And so it's like there should be lots of airflow for the bacteria to heat up and digest it into beautiful compost for the garden, basically. Yeah, it's great. It's like we've got quite a small one because we live in a city, a tiny little courtyard garden. But yeah, it's been great. I've got some like good compost harvests from it. At the moment, my mix is a little bit wet. I've literally this morning went to buy some wood chip because I didn't have any for ages, so it's been very soggy.
Well, yeah. Everything's soggy this year.
Yes,
because you're getting our summer now. Right? How our summer started with all the rain. You've been getting a lot of rain.
True, yeah. I mean, I don't know. We've got the sun today, but I don't know how long it's gonna last.
I don't know how long
like
for.
It's already autumn here.
Right. Okay, so it sounds like it's sort of like you mix wet with dry, sort of.
Yeah. You kind of, so it's the one that we've bought. So there are ways to do it without buying the fancy hot compost bins, which I don't know how to do. And I think it's like if you're doing it on a slightly larger scale. But so ours is like it's like a really thick insulated black polystyrene tube, and it's got a little like a vent on the top and then a lid, and then at the bottom like a little door that you can open and harvest your compost in. So the idea is to keep it hot, and it does tend to stay warm over the winter if I maintain it properly, or if like I forget and it goes cold, you can like restart it or like kickstart it, with like it's basically like a hot water bottle that you put inside it.
Oh, that's cool.
So you just fill it with boiling water and then you like bury it among the food scraps. And it doesn't smell either because it's digesting everything like so quickly. And the heat as well. I don't know the science of it, but it doesn't smell if I'm doing it properly. So.
Okay, well, so that makes sense. So the hot part is helping it to digest really quickly, and so it's breaking down, and so it shouldn't smell like rotten food.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
which mine does.
Yeah, like we've not had any issues with rodents or things like that. So I think if I let it get too just like nice and warm, you tend to get some worms in there, but then they'll quickly try and escape if it gets too hot. So, and they can escape. So.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
And is there like a temperature gauge that you can tell, or is it just that you can like put your hands on the outside and feel that
Yeah,
it's warmer?
there's a little temperature thing, and then you get a little temperature stick to put in. If it's too low down, then you can measure it that way. And it's got a little green zone of like where it should be. So.
Oh, nice. Okay. I mean, your description sounds almost like mine, except mine does not have a temperature gauge.
Oh, really?
But I mean, it's a black plastic thing with a lid on the top with a vent, and the little door in the bottom that you can scoop stuff out.
Yeah, but is it like the hot compost one specifically, like the branded one, it's like polystyrene, so it's
so it's extra insulated.
I don't know if you call it something else in the US. But yeah, it's like insulation basically, so it keeps the heat in.
Ours is not that. And that's the difference. All right, cool. So now I know more about hot compost. That's cool. Another thing that I've been loving your posts where you've been foraging a lot, and you're just really enjoying that, which is really fun. What are the things that you're foraging for?
Yeah, so I memean it depends on the time of year basically. Mum gave me a voucher for my birthday a couple of years ago, like a 1-day foraging course, and like so you go out as a group in the morning and forage stuff, and then you cook it together on an open fire in the forest to make lunch, and then you do a bit more foraging in the afternoon. And it was just like one of the best days I've ever had in my life, basically. And so then the year after I was like, I'll have another one of those vouchers, please. Did it again, and then the company that I do it with, called Live Wild, they offered a 5-part, or it's a 6-part course actually. It's called the Forager's Journey, and so this year I've been doing that, and so it's every other month, I think. So you get to go to the same place but experience it in each season, and learn about specific plants like in way more detail, and like
that's great.
The different uses that they have throughout the year as well, and just like connecting with one place. It's just been really powerful, in that community as well, because it's the same group of people for the whole year. And like normally when I'm out walking and I see a mushroom, like no one else is really very interested, but then with this group of people, you see a mushroom and then everyone
stops and you're like, let's check this out. What kind of mushroom? What do you think it tastes like? Do you think it's safe? Yeah
exactly. It's really nice. It's such a great I've got two sessions left, and I'm really like, I don't know what I'm going to do after it finishes.
Oh, well, you can forage by yourself, right?
Yeah, of course. Like so I've got in the moment in the fridge some elderberries that I need to prepare properly, and some crab apples as well that I got when I was down visiting my parents in Oxfordshire. So I think I'm going to make crab apple jelly.
That is delicious. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I will say that. I love it. It's really time consuming for me. I can't do it.
I've never even tried it, I think. So it'll be a lot of effort, and if I don't like it, then
Oh, you'll like it. I'm sure you'll
Yeah.
like it. It'll be so much better because you made it. I just saw that you can make vinegar with crabapple.
Oh,
So
interesting.
like crabapple vinegar, or I mean, you could use the crabapple scraps from when you're making your jelly and make vinegar.
Mm,
Um, that
yeah.
that's something that I started doing with my apple jam, my apple preserves. I use all the scraps and I attempt to make vinegar out of
So is
that.
that like apple cider vinegar, or do you use it as like a?
Kinda.
I've seen like raspberry or blackberry vinegar, and you can use that on salad dressings and things. But yeah,
Yeah, but I'd love to use scraps to make vinegar because I don't know. My vinegars have not turned out very well. I'm bad at fermenting, even though I try.
oh, how is your
I've got some
kombucha?
vinegar that I tried a couple of years ago, I think, and it still isn't very vinegary. Smells like apple juice 2 years later. So I
That's
don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm trying. I'm trying. Maybe someday. I feel like with fermenting, I feel like I need to have somebody standing with me and saying this is okay or this is not okay, because I have like some cucumbers that I'm trying to ferment to make pickles, and there's a weird skin on top. And somebody said, "Oh, if there's mold, then it's got bacteria and you can't eat that. You have to discard." And then some people, I've literally had people say, "You just scrape that off." I'm like,
yeah. I don't know because it's fermenting is such a ancient way of like storing food, isn't there? Like it must be. I don't feel like the chances of it going badly wrong. Like if it's like black mold, like I tried to make kombucha once and there was like spots of black mold, and I was like, this is definitely not something I want to eat. But with other things, I don't know. Maybe if you've got a strong stomach, you'll be all right.
I usually have a strong stomach. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm just, it's in my fridge waiting until someone can tell me if it's okay or not okay. But, but for, foraging that's such a what a cool gift your mom did. That's really
Mhm.
great. And what if she's totally started something?
Yeah, yeah, it's one of those things like I think it just one of those experiences that just totally shifted my perspective and like opened up a whole like new view of the world, and just like noticing all these plants that I just thought were weeds before, but actually they have all these incredible uses. And there's all these incredible like stories and mythology and folklore around them, and like how they've been used by healers in history. And just, I'm just putting it in my salad now or something, but it's still just, I think it's really important. Like it felt important to continue to learn about it so it's not lost, I think. Also I'm obsessed with it now. So
I
um
totally get that. Um,
yeah.
I think it would be such a service for people to hire an herbalist for even just for a day and walk around their property and be like, this is such and such, and you can use this for so many different things. This is a really
Mhm.
beneficial weed, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that there are things that we just mow over, dandelions and whatever.
Mhm.
Um, but I had what was that? Oh, I got bit by my dog. I got bit by my dog, and I messaged my friend Becky of Herbage by Bex, and I was like, what can I do? Um, what? Oh no, it wasn't when I got bit by her. When her face was swollen, I asked her what I could do, and she said, grab some plantain, crumple it in your hands and spit on. She said spit on it. I'm like,
Mhm.
nah, I want to spit on it. And then just put it on her face. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh, that's really cool. Stuff
Yeah.
like that. I mean,
Yeah.
that is so handy because in an instant, in an emergency, you're like, what am I supposed to do? But to have people like that in your corner, that's pretty sweet. But just to walk around and be like, oh, that you have jewelweed, that is great for. James was just saying jewelweed is supposed to be really good for poison ivy.
I don't know what jewelweed is, but it might have a different name in the UK. There's so many. I mean,
It might, yeah. I mean, jewelweed is a really really prolific weed here, and it has these sweet little like fragile looking orange flowers. It's actually really pretty, but it's just so invasive that
it's not like the pineapple weed, is it? That's
no,
that
no,
we have.
because jewelweed is really tall.
Oh, okay.
Um, I don't know, but
Yeah.
just stuff like that, like the pineapple weed. Somebody was just saying you can eat that,
Hmm.
and it literally tastes like pineapple.
Yeah, I've not tried it yet, but I've heard that too. So, but
Yeah,
that's a prolific one over here as well. I just find it really interesting as well as like the benefits of these plants is the different, like even within the UK, like it depends where you are as to what it's called. Like all these different kinds of plants and weeds, and it's because it goes back like so far as to like what they were used for, or like whether or not it's native to that particular area as well.
right.
Uh, yeah, I really love learning about that too, and all the different sort of reasons that it's become useful, or it's the reasons that it's there. So like the plantain, that was not native to the UK, but we have it over here, and it's I can't remember, there was a name that they used for it, but it always grows along paths because
Mm-hmm.
it's like
It's really
it's
low.
come with people basically to the country, um
Ah,
and that's the places that we walk are commonly where it's found, because that's just where we've always walked, I think, in a lot of the older parts of England as well.
mm. Well, that's where I see the pineapple weed too. It's on like
Mhm.
walkways and stuff, and I have it in my yard, and I'm scared to eat it. Not because I'm scared of the pineapple thing, but because our chickens. Because there's a lot of chicken poo.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a bit different.
but it's a really interesting thing, and I love learning about stuff like that too. Like
Mhm.
you can actually eat that, or you can use it for medicine or something. Like if someone was purchasing a house, like I think that would be a really cool service to offer
Mhm.
before they move in. Say this, do not let anyone take this. Like this is really valuable, and you can do this with it, or you can eat it, and it's great prepared this way or something like that.
Mhm.
I think plants are so much more than we have grown up thinking. They're not all just pretty. Oh, you have flowers and you have vegetables. There's so much more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
good for
I
you.
there's we were talking about in our last session of the foraging course, that particular plants will come to you essentially. So if there's like a particular plant that you've been um thinking about, or you feel like drawn to, a lot of the time, I mean, whether you believe it or not, I still think it's just interesting, or I like to think about it like this, is that like that if you're drawn to a specific plant, a lot of the time the benefits of that plant are something that you might need. Um, and so I've had some gastro issues this year, and I've been really drawn to the dandelion. Like I've been really obsessed with dandelion. I've done like because you can eat every part of it, and I find them beautiful and fascinating. But one of its primary benefits is for your gastro kind of system, um,
That would be
which
the
I think.
root, I assume.
No, not just the root, the leaves and the flower. It's all
Oh,
good basically for your digestive system. So I think, I mean, yeah, I like to think that the reason I've been so fascinated with it this year is because my body wanted it. So
that's really cool. I love that.
mhm.
Um, I It's not something that I think about often, but that it makes sense. Kind of like it's like your body is calling for that, and that's why it's in
Mhm.
your mind. What do you do with the stems? I'm just really curious because I just think of the milky goo that comes out.
Yeah, I mean, you can eat them, but I haven't. Like I prefer to
Oh,
just leave
okay.
them. um, well, so actually you can do with the stems. You can make dandelion trumpets. You can make like a trumpet noise through them. I've not managed it yet, and it's really
Oh,
frustrating. But if you go on YouTube and type in dandelion trumpet, you'll see people making like noises through, like you can use it as an instrument.
I'm so going to try that.
Yeah.
Do you, I can just see people doing that, and you haven't emptied out the creamy goo, and then you're like, do, 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 and it's like spurting out. Oh gosh. But have you made, one of the pictures that you sent, it looks like you were stewing dandelions or like making dandelion wine?
Yeah, I did the
Or is
dandelion
it a
honey.
jelly? Dandelion
Yeah,
honey.
so it's like it's called, I think one of the names over here is poor man's honey, because it's you steep the flowers in water overnight, and then you use that liquid to then like make a jelly basically. So you add the sugar and pectin, and it doesn't. So I've done mine. It's more like a syrupy texture than honey, I think, but it does, I think, taste similar. Like it's great on toast or just fresh bread with butter.
That's very excited. I'm looking forward to trying that. We have not dipped into it yet. But that's really fun. I love getting to know different ways that you can use plants. I'm glad that you're doing that. Have you done a lot of mushroom foraging?
Yes, not well, like I don't know about foraging. I do a lot of mushroom like looking. Because I don't know that much yet. I think there is so much to learn with the mushroom world. I think
Yeah.
if I don't know for sure, like there are some mushrooms like the Scarlet Elf Cup you get in early spring. That's a really, really easy one to identify. There's nothing else that looks like it.
So it's red?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like it's literally looks like a little cup, and they grow on deadwood on the forest ground, and it's like they only grow at that time of year. There's nothing else that looks like them. So it's like when I see that, I can be sure to pick that. And then there are a few others that are like that, but there are also so many that are like it could be this one, or it could be like
Right.
the one that kills you.
It could be totally safe. It could also kill you.
Yeah, so I tend to just like if I see it and if I'm not sure, I'll just take lots of pictures of it, and then I'll go home and like try and research it more and identify it. But I think I'm comfortable with just having the easy ones and the ones that are hard to confuse for others at the moment. But
Same. Oh my gosh. Yeah. One of my podcast guests a long time ago, I'm not sure if you listened to the episode with Casey, but he was my PT, and he said, just make sure, he said, mushroom foraging doesn't have to be so scary. He said, research what could kill you.
Mhm.
Like, know
I
what
think
those
that's
are,
yeah.
and then the rest is going to be okay. Like, he
Yeah.
said in Maine there are 2 that will kill you, but the scary thing is they look just like everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're harmless looking white mushrooms.
Yeah. Yeah, but then there are even some that we've been learning about. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like, oh yeah, they thought this one was edible for about like 80 years. But then they found out that there was a toxin that just like your body can't process, and it just builds up slowly over 80 years. And it's like, and then you die of that. And it's like, I don't know at what point you know that the mushroom is the cause of death, but we're gonna leave that one alone.
I totally am like that. When people say, "Oh, just look at the," when we have tick season. You guys don't have ticks, I assume.
I think we do. Yeah, we do
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
But there are like 3 different kinds of ticks, and people are like, "Oh, what kind of tick?" I'm like, "I don't know. It was on me, and I took it off, and I don't know. I'm not waiting to find out whether it was okay or not."
Do they carry Lyme disease over in the
Yeah.
US as well? Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that we had more than like one type of tick, but I know that they're not that common. Like they're very common in New England, and it's every time I want to go out for a walk, and then I remember
You're reminded of that.
ticks. I'm like,
Yeah, I know it's bad, but yeah, I think there are 3 different kinds. Well, there's like a deer tick and a dog tick, and then there's like the Lone Star tick, and they carry a host of different diseases, which is
lovely.
I don't want any tick on me. People are like, "Oh, well, what kind was it?" It doesn't matter. It was a tick, and I'm not waiting to, "Oh, you're okay. You stay on me and suck my blood."
Yeah, sure.
You go ahead. I don't mind. But that and like, bees. I'm scared to death of bees. Sorry, Nicole. I'm scared to death of bees. But people are like, "Oh, is it a bee? Is it a yellow jacket?" I'm like, it's yellow and it's buzzing and it stings. That's all I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but mushrooms are tricky. I think they are tricky. You know, I obviously there are some that'll kill you and some that'll just make you sick and some that are totally fine to eat.
Mm-hmm.
But they all look the same to me almost. So I'm supposed to go foraging with Casey, my
Oh,
my
really?
PT, later this month. I'm
It'll
all
be fine.
scared.
It's I think it'll either you'll be like that was fun and then that'll be
I'm
it, or
good.
you'll be
Yeah.
completely obsessed like me. I just yeah. I think even just without eating them, I think that they're such a fascinating like just thing to go and look for. Like it's so much fun. Just uh James, my partner, calls it my mushroom goggles, because when you kind of engage in the like looking at the floor or like looking for mushrooms, you start to see like so many, and it's like I've got my mushroom goggles on now while we're on this walk. So I'm just like every 2 seconds I'm like,
Oh, right. You can't walk by them anymore.
yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, we were just walking last night and we happened to, well, I saw Thursday night, I saw oh my gosh, so many like bright orange mushrooms at the bottom of a tree. And you know, we walk by the same tree every single day and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that wasn't there yesterday. But I showed it to my James yesterday, and we were just like, oh, I wonder what kind of tree, what kind of mushroom that is. But he said that there are some mushrooms that like feed on the dead roots or dead stumps. But yeah, mushrooms are very cool. Plants are very cool. It's all really interesting, and I'm glad that some people are focusing on that and learning more about it, because you know, just being scared or being indifferent to it is not really helping anyone. They might be able to do really good things.
Yeah, I think just like the connection to just being outdoors or like just finding joy in doing things like that has been really like great for my mental health as well. Just like finding connection to things like outside of the city, I think. But then I can take it, so it's only like an hour's drive from where I live to this like ancient woodland where we do the courses. But coming back into Manchester, I still notice like mushrooms and plants and things that I've seen and learned about in the forest, and then I'm like, oh, that's growing at the end of my road, and like I can just watch that now for a year, and I know I can get to know that plant in particular, that one, because it's near where I live.
Right.
I love that kind of feeling of actually like the city isn't that bad.
It's not that far removed.
Yeah, it's not. It's like obviously not this gorgeous woodland, but there are things here if you look.
Right. So now that you've learned about it and you've seen it, you're like, you can recognize it elsewhere. That's very cool. Good for you. And then I think
Grounded in Maine podcast is thrilled to be partnering with True Leaf Market. True Leaf Market has been around since 1974. The end of gardening season is here in the Northeast, at least in Maine, and it's a great time to amend your soil by growing a cover crop. True Leaf Market has everything that you need for cover cropping. Let me just tell you a little bit about cover crops. They've been used in agriculture for thousands of years as a way to naturally and sustainably improve your soil quality. They add organic biomass to the soil. They keep the soil bacteria healthy. They add nitrogen and other nutrients. They attract pollinators and beneficial insects. They improve your soil structure, prevent erosion, and so much more. It's also incredibly inexpensive if you're considering, growing seeds and plants instead of chemicals and all the other stuff that, goes into amending your soil. So it's usually like $25 for most backyard gardens, and that includes shipping. So cover crops are skyrocketing right now in popularity because it's inexpensive, because it's a natural way to amend your soil. You can get a free PDF, a beginner's guide from True Leaf Market about growing cover crops. Their website is trueleafmarket.com. Just search for Cover Crop Guide. We also, with Grounded in Maine, we are offering a promo code of just put in Grounded10 the number 10, to receive $10 off any purchase of $50 or more. Awesome. One use per customer, expires November 15th at midnight. So you got lots of time to use that. We can get started on our amending our soil. So, but check out True Leaf Market. They've got some really great, I mean, literally like everything you could need for starting seeds, for sprouting seeds, for fermenting, for cover crops, obviously, planting wildflowers and vegetables as well. You've got seeds, you've got, I think that was what so I ordered some cover crop seeds, of course. I ordered some pollinator flower mixes, and I ordered some stuff to try sprouting and fermenting. So I'm very excited to get started on that. I'll definitely keep you posted, but please check out trueleafmarket.com. Use the promo code GROUNDED10 to receive $10 off any purchase of $50 or more. And let me know what you think, because I'm very excited I'm very excited about this. So I hope that you will take advantage of this discount and amend your soil naturally. And as always, thank you so much for being a Grounded in Maine listener.
I saw pictures of your garden because your cat guards the garden. It's not that tiny.
It's not. Well, it's, I don't know, I'm comparing to, like, my mum's got an incredible, beautiful garden, and it sort of wraps around the house, but it's a very good sized garden for where we live. It's like a little courtyard.
Yeah. And then, so you were just telling me about a group that you just joined. What is it? Extinction Rebellion.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. And now so you were just an activist, and you were like, it seems like a good step to take to get involved.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if just sharing stuff on social media counts as activism really, but it's something that I'm an activist on the inside at the moment, but so I read a book recently called It's Not That Radical, by Michaela Loach, and it was a really powerful book in terms of like motivating me to be like, actually, I think because in the UK these kind of groups have an image of being like really extreme, but actually all they're asking is for change. And this book really helped me kind of put that into perspective of like, we actually need to do more than just the like individualistic actions, like being vegan or reducing plastic use, or like shopping sustainably and stuff. These are all really important things, but actually the state of the world right now is like, that's not enough. We need to come together, and we need to come together in like a really big way for some kind of societal change. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I'll be on the streets protesting. Like there's a lot that goes on in the background, behind that as well, to keep these organizations sort of functional. So yeah, I'm going to go to the meeting tomorrow and find out more, basically. And that might just be that I could paint the science, or it's all still just being like part of the movement. It can look different for everyone. But yeah, I feel nervous about it, but I'm motivated because change needs to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, community is really good. And, to be part of that is a little less scary, because you're not like, it's not like you against the whole world. It's a pile of you against, just sharing a message, and that's all it is. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily a protest. It's just sharing a message and showing people that, that change needs to happen. I mean, maybe there are protests.
Well, yeah, they are.
There are definitely protests.
But I don't know, if you think about any movement in history, any period of societal change or a shift in any sort of collective way of thinking, or just anything big that's ever happened, it's never come about by just politicians going like, oh yes, we should probably change that, without anyone like really disrupting things before. Right.
There has to be a disruption. You have to get attention.
It has to be, and it's shit that's the way that it is. but it is the way it is. And so it has to get to a point where they can't ignore it. At the moment, that's what they're doing. And people are sort of directing their anger towards groups like Extinction Rebellion, and there's another one called Just Stop Oil, because it's disrupting their day-to-day. But actually, what's going to be more disruptive is the collapse of the environment and
Right.
the climate. Like, we can't continue in this way. It's just not going to sustain us for very long at all. And it's
Right.
I don't know, it's our generations, it's just being passed on to us basically, and we're going to have to pay the bill after these politicians are long gone.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just we have to fix it so that we can continue. What is the other group called that you said is being targeted?
It's called Just Stop Oil.
Just Stop Oil. Oh, okay. I've never heard of that, but that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. And of course, I'm sure the oil companies are big not supporters.
I mean, they actually have. I don't know how. I don't. I've got. So there's a Greenpeace report that revealed that so the fossil fuel companies have, like, their profits have increased by 75% last year, and then they're actually now scaling back their climate ambitions rather than increasing them. And then meanwhile, we're experiencing like record-breaking heat and wildfires and
horrible storms and
storms, evacuations, and it's just like, it makes me so mad that this is just happening. And like, we're just like, oh, but you shouldn't buy that plastic bag. It's got to the point where it just needs more than that, and it's frustrating when people sort of make fun of these groups that are trying to change that, or saying that you're being extreme, because actually, like, it's not. What's extreme is that we're allowing this to continue. Like, change is going to be hard. Like, it's not going to be easy, and we don't have the answers, but it just has to change.
Oh gosh, true. I mean, and the more people, it's like more witnesses to that are going to be more believable. So the larger the group, the more attention it will grab, the more people will respect that opinion, hopefully. But oh my gosh, that's yep.
Yeah, it keeps me awake at night.
Yeah, it's so hard to find that balance too. I mean, I know I was saying this earlier, but like, there's a balance to not carrying the whole weight of the world on your shoulders and feeling that heavy weight that you have to fix everything. But there's also, we can't sit idly and wait for someone else to fix stuff. Like, we need to take charge of that. And this is our generation that's inheriting this. And I take responsibility. I grew up in the 80s, but it's been years and years and years and years and years in the making, and there have been lots of people saying for years, like, climate change is coming, like, we're experiencing things, and things are not going to get better the way that we're going, and we've just been ignoring it and doing things quietly, and that's why we are where we are.
Like the individual things will help, like the zero waste and composting your own food, and I just we need to come together now so that it's not put on yourself. Like, I think it's one of the other reasons that I've joined is that, for that feeling of like, it's not just my responsibility, and that I'm now a bad person because I used a plastic bag in the shop because I forgot to bring my reusable one. And it's actually, the plastic bags shouldn't be there in the first place. Like, it's not my responsibility personally. We need to come together. And, it has to happen as a community, rather than just staying in your house feeling bad about yourself because I don't know, did X, Y, and Z that's not sustainable according to the news. Right.
I had two people on a few weeks ago, and they are working with they're working with a lot of farmers to to help to grow food more sustainably and healthier and regenerative. And when I asked them the question that I ask everyone, what does the word sustainability mean to you? Beth, one of the guests, was like, she called me out and she was like, sustainability is not good enough. Like I don't want things to be the way that they are. Like we need to do better than sustainability. This is not sustainability. So that was a really powerful moment for me. And it's so true. Like we need to be acting sustainably, but we need to do better than what we need to take on more.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that a lot. So, so when I say the word sustainability, Miss Stephanie, what does that mean to you?
Oh my gosh, I knew that you were going to ask this, and I know there've been so many other guests on your podcast that do the same thing. I think I'm doing right now is like, this is the one thing that I forgot to think about before I came on. I think it's just doing what you can, as long as I don't know, I think for me, like the sustainability is going to be like keeping that connection with the land and plants and growing things and keeping my space beautiful and going outside a lot and appreciating the earth that I want to stay here, but then also within my own like limits, going to these groups and actually helping drive the change that it needs to sort of heal the earth, I guess. But it's going to be different for everyone, I guess. So it's like, what's sustainable to you personally? And for me, it's been so far just online activism, but I'm pushing my boundaries a little bit because I'm scared about the world.
I get that totally, and I appreciate that. I think that making the area around you beautiful it's good for so many things. Like one, you've got food and you've got flowers, which just feel good, but there's also the being outside, which is so good for your mental health, which is personally sustainable. Like that's better for you, and it helps you to live more healthy. I think there's just so many things about that are so great. Whew. That's it's such a big word, and it could mean so many millions of things. If it means something different to everybody, but I appreciate that you are taking those steps to make a big difference for more people. I need to look and see if there are groups like that here. There must be groups like that here.
There must be, yeah. I'm surprised Extinction Rebellion hasn't made it over to the US yet. I'm sure they have.
Oh, they might be.
Maybe just smaller.
Or trumped down, like shh.
Yeah, I mean there's a bit of that here too, but
that's not their way. But so if anybody is so inspired and wants to, because you guys, Stephanie does so many more things. These are just a few things that we're touching on. She is a super duper crafter. She's so smart, and she's so passionate about the earth and taking care of it. So if anybody is totally impressed and so inspired that they want to follow and see what else you're up to, so find you and follow you, how can people do that?
Sure, yeah. I'm on Instagram mostly. My username is bold_duck. And TikTok as well. Although I don't really post there much, but I do occasionally will like post cat videos and silly DIY videos.
Don't we all? Don't we all? But so Bolduc, but you also have another page because you're renovating your place, right?
Yes, yeah. And that's number 98, mate. And that's just documenting I originally created the page because I didn't want to like spam everyone that like was on my personal Instagram with just boring
Right.
photos of like
Things
renovation
that they may or
pictures.
may
And I was
not
like,
care about.
if you're interested in it, then you can follow it. And I just quite like it for my own personal, like when I can look back at it and like look at it from the like very first post of just being like, wow, this place was like such a state. And actually, even though right now I've been feeling like we've not done enough, when I look back at those photos that I posted, I'm like, wow, we've actually done loads. And like I can then feel like really proud of myself. So it's like it's a selfish page really, but I post lots of things there because I like to document it for my own future dopamine.
Yeah, that's exciting. So bold_duck, people can find you there. Cool. Stephanie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love learning about everything that you're doing. I'm so proud of you.
Well, thank you so much. It was great it was amazing to visit you guys in the summer, and I hope that it's not the last time we do that. And thank you for having me on.
For sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. You have so much to offer, and I love it. I love it all. So, thank you so much for being here. I am going to stop. I just want to take a moment and thank my guest again for speaking with me and sharing such great information. I also need to thank Buzzsprout for hosting this podcast, for Jane Bolduc and her amazing music genius, for Becca Coffron and her beautiful artwork. And I'd like to thank you for listening. Please check out the show notes. I'm going to have links posted in there if you would like to follow this guest and learn more about them. Thank you again. We'll talk to you soon.
There'll come a day, my mama told me, when I find love to have and hold me, a heart that's strong and so sincere. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? Oh, tell me, how do I get there from here? 'Cause here and now I'm so far down that mercy's bound to find me. We'll find a way to soothe the sickness. We'll heal the ache with sweet forgiveness. Wages of war will disappear. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? I wonder, how do I get there from here? Yeah, 'cause here now I'm so far down that mercy's bound to find me. When that state of grace has finally found me, well, there'll be music, ooh, and good friends around me, yeah. And I'll just smile through happy tears and wonder,